Have you ever really stopped to wonder where our biggest problems actually come from? I'm talking about our anxiety, our conflicts, all the sorrow. Not just the surface stuff, but the real, ultimate source. Well, today we're diving into an ancient Buddhist text that goes right after that question. And honestly, it reads less like a sermon and more like this brilliant detective story, you know? It's tracing the clues of human suffering all the way back to the scene of the crime. All right, let's get into it. So our investigation kicks off with one of the Buddha's main disciples, a monk by the name of Ānanda. He's just finished a deep meditation, and he thinks he's had this huge breakthrough. He's feeling pretty confident about what he's figured out, so he goes right over to the Buddha to share his discovery. So Ānanda shares his big insight. He basically says, look, all these ideas about how the mind works, about life and death, they're incredibly profound, yeah, but I finally get it. For me, it's all become crystal clear. It's almost simple now that I see it. But the Buddha, he offers this gentle but really crucial correction. He says to Ānanda, don't say it's easy to see. See, the whole reason we get so tangled up in suffering is precisely because these core principles are so profound, so subtle. We completely miss them because we think the answers have to be somewhere else, something more complicated. This tiny shift in perspective, it's the key that unlocks this entire teaching.
To explain, the Buddha introduces the main tool for this whole investigation. It's a concept called dependent origination. It's the simple but incredibly powerful idea that nothing just appears out of thin air. Everything, every feeling, every event, our very existence, it's all the result of causes and conditions that came before it. Think of it like a long, intricate line of dominoes, right? To understand why the last one fell, you have to look at the one that knocked it over. And this is where the detective work really starts to heat up. The Buddha doesn't begin at some mysterious, abstract starting point. Nope, he uses this absolutely brilliant method of reverse engineering the problem. To find the source of our suffering, he starts with a final, undeniable result. So he asks the first, and maybe the biggest question of all. Why do we all have to go through the pain of getting old, of facing death, and all the grief and despair that comes along with it? Where does this universal experience of suffering actually start? And the answer is just stark. It's inescapable. All of these kinds of suffering exist for one simple reason, because we are born. I mean, if we were never born, there'd be no aging, no sickness, no death to worry about. It's the first, most obvious domino in the chain. But the real question is, what knocked that one over? Okay, now the investigation really picks up speed. We're about to follow this chain of why questions all the way back, link by link, moving from the physical world deep into the subtle psychological mechanics that are driving this whole show. So the next logical question has to be, why are we born in the first place? What's the condition that has to be there for the event of birth to even happen? Birth is caused by existence, or you could call it a state of becoming. A good way to think about this is like momentum. It's the forward-moving energy that carries over from one moment to the next, creating the conditions for a new life to start. It's the state of being that comes right before the actual event of being born. Okay, so what's powering that momentum? What causes this state of existence to just keep on going? We're getting deeper now, really peeling back the layers and moving right into the engine room of the mind itself. The answer is grasping, or you could say clinging. This is that deep, almost automatic habit we have of holding on tight to our ideas, our identities, our feelings, our experiences, and saying, this is me, this is mine. This very act of clinging is what fuels the fire, what generates the energy for our existence to just keep rolling forward. We are right on the edge of the source now. This is the crucial link. I mean, if our grasping is what keeps this entire cycle spinning, what on earth makes us grasp and cling so tightly to begin with? And there it is. The sutra points to the prime mover, the engine of the whole machine, craving. This is that deep thirst, that constant feeling of wanting pleasant things to last forever, wanting unpleasant things to just go away, wanting reality to be something other than what it is. This is the fuel. Now, what's so incredibly powerful here is seeing it all laid out like this. It all starts with a feeling, craving. That feeling leads directly to an action, grasping. That action generates a whole state of being, existence. That state then leads to a physical event, birth. And that event inevitably leads to our ultimate fate, old age and death. It's just an unbroken, self-perpetuating chain.
Okay, so you might be thinking this is all just internal, personal psychology. But this is where the text makes a really stunning connection. It shows how this inner chain of craving is the direct source of our external, societal problems. Let's see how this case gets built. The text spells it out for us, step by step. Our internal craving leads us to go out and seek things in the world. Once we get those things, that seeking hardens into possessiveness, this fierce, protective sense that this is mine. And it's this possessiveness, this desperate clinging to what we have, that the text says is the direct cause of all violence and conflict. And listen, this isn't some metaphor. The text is making a direct, causal link between a private feeling of desire and the very real, very public consequences of arguments, fights, weapons, and yeah, even more. All of it traced all the way back to that same fundamental link in the chain, craving. So we've dismapped the entire chain of suffering, from a subtle inner feeling all the way to global conflict. And, it can feel a little bleak. The natural question is, are we just stuck in this? Is there any way out? Is there a way to break the chain? And the answer the Buddha gives is a resounding yes. There is a way out, but it's not through force. You don't break the chain by fighting it or trying to smash one of the links. The path to freedom is through wisdom, through seeing the chain clearly for exactly what it is. So here's the crucial point. When you can actually observe this process happening inside you, when you can see craving pop up, feel that impulse to grasp, and understand it not as some personal failing, but just as an impersonal process of cause and effect, well, it loses its power over you. You stop identifying with it, you stop feeding it your energy, and the chain just naturally dissolves. That very act of clear seeing, without getting pulled in, that is liberation. And that really leaves us with a final thought. This ancient text isn't just philosophy. It's a practical guide for investigation. It invites every one of us to become a detective of our own experience. So the real question to take away from all this is, what are the hidden chains of cause and effect that are running your life? And what might happen if you actually started tracing them back to their source?